You asked for a video about studying? Well, this isn't just a video, this is the ultimate guide you've been waiting for. We all know the reality. School has officially started. For those of you facing the baccalaureate or regional exams, the countdown clock is already ticking. But here is the twist. You still have plenty of time. In fact, you have enough time to not just improve, but to double your performance from last year. You're about to start seeing grades on your exams that you never imagined were possible for you. If you stay with me, this video is going to rewrite your entire approach. You will stop hating the process and might actually start enjoying it. I'm going to teach you how to get top-tier results with the least amount of effort, using scientifically proven methods that have already transformed the lives of students before you. We are going to shatter the myths you've believed for years. But before we dive in, these deep dive videos take a massive amount of time to create. So do me a favor, scroll down, smash that like button, and turn on the notification bell. Because let's be honest, if that bell isn't on, are you really even part of the channel? First, I need to have a serious conversation with the night owls. Those of you who burn the midnight oil thinking, I'm grinding hard. Let me be brutally honest, you are wasting your time. Studying at night is the educational equivalent of pouring water into sand. Why? Because your brain processes and stores information while you sleep. If you are awake when you should be dreaming, you are essentially deleting the data you just tried to learn. So, before we even talk about study techniques, fix your sleep. This is non-negotiable. Aim for at least 7 hours. Science tells us that losing just one night of proper sleep takes your brain 4 full days to fully recover. And if you are sitting there thinking, but I don't sleep and I still get good grades, I say to you, imagine how unstoppable you would be if you actually rested. You are winning a battle, but losing the war for your mental and physical health. Now, let's talk about working smarter, not harder. Most students think studying means locking themselves in a room for 5 hours straight. That is a trap. Your brain isn't built for marathons, it's built for sprints. Instead of a 5-hour block, break it down. 20 or 30 minutes of intense focus followed by a break. And listen to me closely. That break is not for scrolling through social media or playing video games. That isn't rest, that is distraction. Stand up, walk around, breathe some fresh air, and then dive back in. Your brain stores information far better in short, spaced-out intervals. If you push past the limit, your brain shuts down, and you are just staring at a page, learning nothing. If you want to take this to the elite level, add this secret ingredient: exercise. Between your study sessions, move your body. Do some push-ups, go to the gym, just move. Why? Because when your heart rate goes up, your body releases a cocktail of chemicals: dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. I won't bore you with the chemistry class, but essentially, these are performance enhancers for your brain. They help you memorize faster and connect dots logically. By fixing your sleep and breaking up your study sessions like a train stopping at stations, we have just solved the biggest problem students face: working hard but forgetting everything. Let's tackle the elephant in the room. How do you stop dreading the work? How do you make sitting down to study feel effortless? To be honest, this was my biggest struggle. I used to be so resistant to studying that I would literally sit there and count the tiles on the floor just to avoid opening a textbook. The procrastination was real. So, how did I fix it? I didn't rely on willpower, I built a ritual. I created a routine that I repeated every single day until it became automatic. My schedule was sacred. I woke up at 7 a.m. sharp. But I didn't jump straight into schoolwork. First, I made coffee. Then, I read a few pages of the 48 Laws of Power, a book I highly recommend. By the time the clock struck 8 a.m., my brain was awake, primed, and ready to switch to study mode. It became so ingrained in my system that I started waking up before my alarm. Studying stopped being a burden and became a biological necessity, just like eating lunch or brushing my teeth. If I missed a session, the day felt off, like something was missing. Even during my vacation, I'd wake up early with this phantom urge to work. That is the power of a deep-set habit. Once your brain accepts that this is just what we do at this time, the resistance disappears. Now, let me share a psychological hack that will skyrocket your attention. Researchers once conducted a study with two groups of people, giving them both the same text to learn. Group A was told, "Learn this because you will be tested on it." Group B was told, "Learn this because you will have to teach it to someone else." The result? Group B understood and remembered the material far better. Why? Because when your brain thinks it has to explain the information, it organizes it more logically and simplifies complex ideas. So, the next time you sit down to study, don't just read to memorize. Read as if you are the professor. Act as if you have to explain the concept to a class. These are small, simple tweaks, but trust me, the impact they will have on your grades is massive. Let's talk about the sixth point, and this is a situation I know you have faced. How many times have you studied a chapter, closed the book, and felt like a genius, only for someone to ask you to explain it, and suddenly your mind goes blank? I used to suffer from this. I had the memory span of a goldfish. I would read, nod my head, and think I understood. But in reality, I was suffering from something psychologists call the illusion of competence. You are tricking yourself. You believe you are prepared because you recognize the material, but you haven't actually mastered it. This is exactly why students walk into an exam room confident, read the first question, and freeze. But since you are watching this video, we are going to make sure that never happens to you again. The philosopher Mortimer Adler once said, "The person who says he knows what he thinks, but cannot express it, usually does not know what he thinks." When you just read, information sits in your short-term memory. It is fragile. It can disappear in seconds. We need to move that data into your long-term memory, turning raw information into usable ideas. Here are the methods to do that. Method 1. Active recall. Scientists conducted a study with two groups. Group A read a text and then immediately tested themselves by trying to remember it. Group B just read and reread the text. The result? Group A remembered 80% of the material. Group B? A disastrous 34%. The difference is massive. So, instead of binge reading chapter after chapter, stop after every paragraph. Close the book. Take 40 seconds to mentally recite the key points. This simple pause forces your brain to work, solidifying the memory. Method 2. The Feynman technique. Named after the physicist Richard Feynman, this is the ultimate way to learn. It requires a bit more effort, but the results are unmatched. 1. Write down the concept you want to learn. 2. On a blank sheet of paper, write an explanation of that concept, as if you were teaching it to someone who knows absolutely nothing about it, like a child. 3. The moment you get stuck or can't explain a part, simply stop. That is your gap in knowledge. 4. Go back to your source material, relearn that specific part, and try again. Repeat this until you can write the full explanation without looking at the book. Once you can do that, you haven't just memorized it, you have mastered it. But we are not finished yet. There is one final crucial step to the Feynman technique. You need to take that explanation and simplify it even further. Strip away all the complex vocabulary. Break it down until a 5-year-old child could understand it. When you apply this, you transform into a machine. You won't just remember facts, you will internalize them. For exams that rely heavily on memorization, you will start getting grades you previously thought were impossible. You might be asking, okay, but how do I make it stick forever? That brings us to the third technique, spaced repetition. This isn't about cramming, it is about rhythm. You study the material today, you review it tomorrow, then you review it again 2 days later. I used this exact method to survive university. I study English, but I had this one French module. Now, I have to be honest with you, my French was weak. Actually, weak is a compliment. It was terrible. But I got lucky. The exam was pure memorization. So, I played the game. I wrote everything I needed to know on a large sheet of paper. That paper became my shadow. I took it everywhere. I would read it in the morning, review it in the evening, and do it again the next day. And here is the crazy part. It has been 10 months, and I still remember things from that paper. I even remember sentences I didn't fully understand at the time, because the words were literally burned into my mind. I ended up scoring a 15 out of 20. For someone who usually scrapes by in French, that was a miracle. I am actually planning a challenge to properly master French soon, and I will make a video showing you exactly how to learn a new language from scratch. But for now, know this. Spaced repetition might feel boring. It might feel tedious. But it is the most effective way to lock information into your long-term memory. As the famous saying goes, repetition teaches the donkey. If it works for the donkey, imagine what it can do for you.